I need to tell you about the 2 weeks of my life that everyone remembers except me, and why, once I understood what they were, I chose to give them back. I've thought a long time about how to tell this without sounding unwell. There isn't a clean way. So I'll go in order, the way it happened to me, and let you carry the same weight I've been carrying. I only ask one thing as we go: notice how gentle everyone is. That's the part that still wakes me. Not the missing time, the tenderness around the edges of it, like a bandage over something no one would let me see. My name is Nora Adler. For 11 years, I've been the operations lead at a mid-sized events company downtown. The one who keeps the calendars and the contracts and the 90 small threads that have to not snap for 200 people to do their jobs. I come in first. I get the 6 a.m. call when the venue falls through, and I have a reputation in that office. A running joke, really. Nora never takes a day off. It was true. 4 sick days in 11 years, and no vacation. Not one. My accrued leave was so high, payroll had flagged it twice. Rest, for me, has always felt like taking my hands off the wheel of a car only I know is still moving. I'll explain where that comes from. It matters more than I wanted it to. So understand what it meant when I walked in that Monday and Priya at the front desk lit up and said, "There she is. How was it? You look incredible." I said, "How was what?" She laughed like I'd made a joke, and I let it go, because that's what you do in a busy lobby at 8 in the morning. That first small wrongness and the reflex to reach for the ordinary answer, because the ordinary answer is almost always right. My inbox told her story back to me. 2 weeks of out-of-office replies I didn't remember setting. 2 weeks of my work quietly absorbed by other people. A card propped against my monitor, actually signed. "So glad you finally took it. You earned it. You earned it." I'd hear it a dozen times that week from almost everyone. You earned it. You needed it. You finally took it. After a while, it stopped sounding like language and started sounding like something people had agreed to say. The system confirmed it. A leave request filed from my own login, approved by my own director. My timesheet showed the gap. According to every record my job keeps, I had gone on vacation. And here's the thing you have to know about me. The thing that turned a strange morning into the slow unspooling of everything I thought a person could be sure of. I keep records of my own life the way I keep them for work. 19 years of a daily journal, not feelings, facts. What I did, who I saw, when I slept. I started it in a bad year to prove to myself that time was really passing, that I was really here, and I never stopped. It is the most reliable document in my life. It had never once lied to me. I opened it that night, certain the 2 weeks would be full of ordinary work. Certain I could carry it in the next morning and we'd laugh about the glitch. The 2 weeks were there, in my handwriting. Full. Drove up the coast. Fog didn't lift until Cambria. Room 14, the blue door. Slept 10 hours, first time in years. A hike described down to the eucalyptus smell and a bench where I'd watched otters. A morning I'd cried on the beach for no reason and felt lighter after, like something had drained out of me. 14 days of a good, quiet, healing trip, written in my own dry hand, about a vacation I have no memory of taking. I want to be honest about what I did next, because I'm not proud of it. I reached for a door with a name on it, and I walked through and I tried to shut it behind me. The name on the door was Fugue. I'd read about it, dissociative fugue, where a mind under enough strain simply walks off, drives to another city, comes back with no memory and a hotel receipt. And God, did I want it. It explained the gap without breaking anything. It made me a case study instead of a ghost in my own life. I even did the responsible thing. I called a doctor, I described it carefully, and she said kindly that yes, stress states like that are real. That 11 years without rest is exactly the kind of load that does it. That I should come in. I hung up, and I actually cried with relief. I had a solvable problem. I had my hands back on the wheel. That relief lasted about a day. Then the details started coming back tied off too neat, and the neatness was the horror. Not that the vacation was missing, but that it was complete. Because a fugue is a person alone. And I had not been alone. The motel, I called pretending I'd left a charger, and the woman said, "Warm as anything. Room 14, right?" You two were so sweet. My credit card charged for 2 dinners the nights I ate out. 2 halibut, 2 glasses of wine. In the back of a closet I don't remember filling, a shoebox, a second toothbrush still in its travel case, a paperback I'd never read, a tube of sunscreen worn down that wasn't the brand I buy. You two. I'm going to tell you the thing I let myself believe for 2 full days, because you'd have believed it too. I thought I'd met someone. I let myself hope it, actually hope, this warm, foolish thing I hadn't felt in years. That somewhere in those washed-out weeks a solitary, overworked woman who'd never once let herself rest had driven up a foggy coast and fallen into 2 weeks of somebody's company. That the ease on my face in the beach photo, and there was a photo, me smiling in a way I didn't recognize as mine, had a person standing just off frame who'd put it there. I scrolled the photos looking for them. An elbow, a shadow, a second coffee cup on a railing. I wanted to find whoever it was. I wanted them back. That's the cruelty of how it was built. It let me hope in exactly the direction that would hurt most when it turned. Let me stop here, because I have to tell you about my sister. And I've been circling her the way I circled her for days. Her name is Ruth, 4 years younger. For most of our lives, I have been, in every real sense, her keeper. Our mother was not well, not in a way anyone ever gave a clean name. And I learned before I was 10 that if the 2 of us were going to be okay, I'd have to be the one who never came apart. I fed us. I forged the permission slips. I sat up through Ruth's bad nights and swore it would be fine, and in the morning I got the good grades so there'd be proof we were normal. I never learned to stop. Rest still feels like abandonment. When I say I never take vacation, I'm not describing discipline. I'm describing a wound I've kept open on purpose because I was afraid of what would leak out if it ever closed. Ruth had a hard road as an adult. There were years I don't talk about, a stretch, the bad year. The year I started the journal, when I did not always know in the morning whether my sister was still alive, and I taught myself not to feel it so I could keep the wheels steady, keep being the one who could be called at any hour. I got good at not feeling things. I want you to know that about me before the rest, because it's the whole key, and I didn't have it yet. I'm telling you about Ruth now because she was the one thread I hadn't pulled. And when I finally looked, the thing that turned my stomach wasn't something the record said, it was something it didn't. Ruth was not in the journal, not once in 14 days. And Ruth is in my journal constantly, ordinary and daily. Called Ruth, she sounded good. Ruth's birthday sent the thing. 2 weeks with no mention of my sister was, for my life, impossible. It was the one place the record was too clean. Someone had been careful there. Someone who knew exactly where I'd eventually look. So I called her. The line rang twice and a recording said the number was no longer in service. She changes it sometimes when she's cutting the world off to protect herself, and I'm often on the wrong side of it. I drove to her apartment. A young couple lived there now. 8 months, they said. Kind about it, the way you're kind to a woman holding onto your door frame. And I went home and I searched my own house for the seam, and in the same shoebox under the paperback, I found an envelope with my own handwriting on the front. It said, "Nora, don't." Just that. I sat on the closet floor and held it, and I'll tell you the truth, because you've stayed with me this long. I wanted to open it more than I've wanted anything in years. Not out of courage, because I am the one who has to know. Because I've built my whole self on the belief that I can hold anything as long as I can see all of it. That the not knowing is what kills you. That if I pull the last thread, I'll finally be allowed to put my hands down. I opened it. There was no long confession inside. That's what I keep coming back to. Just a photograph. And beneath it, 4 lines in my own hand. The photograph was Ruth. On the beach. The same beach. The wind in her hair. And thin in a way I understood instantly and completely. The way you understand a language you spoke as a child. She was looking at whoever held the camera. At me. And her face had an expression I had waited my whole life to see on it, and had nearly given up on. She looked unafraid. She looked like someone who was not carrying anything anymore. The 4 lines said only this. You didn't lose these 2 weeks. You spent them. She asked you to, and you said yes, and then she asked you to let them go so you could keep standing. Everyone loves you enough to have agreed. Let it be a vacation. Let her be resting, that was all. No dates, no details of what those days actually held hour by hour. Whoever wrote it, I wrote it, had left the worst of it out. Not because it was too much to fit on the page, because I'd meant for it to stay out. The details were the thing I'd asked to be allowed to forget. And sitting there, I understood the shape of it without being shown the whole. There was no companion up that coast. There was no stranger who'd put the ease on my face. There was my sister, and 2 weeks, and a foggy, blue-doored room, and dinners for 2 that got quieter toward the end. I had driven her up the coast. I had been the one who could stand it. And when it was over, I'd asked the people who love me to help me build somewhere kind for those days to have gone, so that I could get up off the beach and keep being the person who never comes apart. The 2 halibut, the second toothbrush. The photo I'd combed for a lover's shadow in, the shadow had been Ruth the whole time, just out of frame. And I'd been hoping so hard in the wrong direction that I'd almost hoped my own sister out of her last 2 weeks. I could have remembered it. That's what I need you to sit with, because I've had to. The door was right there, and it had Ruth on the other side of it, every hour restored, real, mine again. All I had to do was push, and I understood in the same breath what it would cost and who would pay, because I know myself. If I let those 2 weeks back in, I will not survive them the way I survived them the first time, with my hands steady, being the proof that we were okay. I'll feel them the way you feel a thing when you're finally allowed to, all at once, and I am not certain I come back up from that. And a version of me who loved her sister more than she loved her own need to know had already stood on that beach and thought all of this through and made a decision, and left me 4 lines asking me, begging me, to trust her judgment over mine. I have spent my whole life trusting no one's judgment over mine. It is the thing that kept us alive. It is also, I think now, the thing my sister spent her last clear days trying to set me down from. So I put the letter back. I went to work the next morning, and when Priya asked if I was settling in, I said yes, it's getting easier, and I meant it. And that frightened me more than anything, because it meant the vacation was becoming true from the inside. Not a lie. A mercy a whole room full of people had agreed to hold up together so that one of us wouldn't have to carry a real thing alone. I still have the beach photo on my refrigerator. People who come over ask if that's my sister. I say yes. They say she looks happy. I say she was. I hear myself use the word, and I don't know why I reach for it. That's the thread I will never pull, the reason I'm still awake telling you this. The 4 lines said, "Let her be resting," and I don't know which resting it means. I don't know if my sister is out there somewhere with the fog finally lifting off her, alive and lighter and free of me at last. Or whether the 2 weeks I gave away were the last 2 weeks she had, and the vacation is only the gentle shape we built so that the days she died in would have somewhere to go. Everyone agreed I had taken a vacation, and this morning, standing at my own refrigerator for the first time, so did I. I just wish I knew which one of us I was protecting when I finally agreed.